Hello again, folks. Yes, Scotland for back for just a normal video. I'm not doing like a review or anything like that. It's just sort of a rambling, vloggy thing that I really wanted to try and do, but I'm trying to find the right words to really put it in. This is addressing something that has happened recently for me, and I just felt that it's time that I at least get this out of the way now before I move on to anything else. And I'm trying to find the best way of saying this, because a lot of people now, I've seen so many people really touch on the subject for a lot of different reasons regarding Hasbro's way of running things now, with the scaling down of figures and the quality of plastic being reduced to nothing more than like your casual knockoff, and all the other stuff and all the certain declining in Transformers at the moment for a lot of different things. And this is this is kind of something I really wanted to try and really get out of the way, and I've seen a lot of people touch on the subject as well, especially TF Nolsey did a video regarding this, and I've seen a few people respond to this. But what's the best way to really try and say this? As of now, I'm kind of really pretty much done with collecting now. I'm pretty much stopping collecting for a lot of different reasons, because I'm trying to find the best way of explaining this. At the moment, because Transformers has gone on and done some successful things over the years, but at the moment it seems to be sort of a turning point for a lot of different things, because the Prime line, I'll get onto this in a minute, the Prime line is currently at the point where the Beast Hunters line, the new line from Prime, is coming along, and I'm not having anything really positive to say about that line at all. And at the moment, since there doesn't seem to be anything interesting going on at the moment, it's just come to this point now where I'm pretty much I'm just stopping collecting for a while. And because I just feel like now's the time to really move on from that now, because as much as I love Transformers, I'll always love Transformers, but as a toy side of things, I'm just kind of really stopping it for a while. And the reason is, like I said, there's nothing new coming out, and with the quality, and I've seen a lot of people touch on the subject, the quality of certain figures is being reduced in terms of size, in terms of plastic quality and stuff like that, and really there just doesn't seem to be anything that's really interesting or investing at all in the current line at the moment. And this is partially due to the whole idea of Hasbro's new way of running things, and the way that things are currently turning out for them, and the way that they're making their toys. And I'm not sure it's just the same with Transformers, because, like I said, TF Nolsey made a video about this, and he mentioned me as well, and he also said that regarding the certain change in quality regarding Hasbro and the way things are, with the quality and everything that I've just said, people are pretty much splitting off from Transformers at the moment, just temporarily, I think, until something interesting can come along, and just moving away from that. And that's fine, because I feel that at the moment Transformers is kind of, really it's reached a sort of a deadlock. I'm trying to find the right word to put it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's currently at a deadlock where the franchise it's doing fine for certain things, but the main thing at the moment, which is Prime, which is the current line going on, it's just not doing a very good job to try and reel in a lot of people's attention. And for me especially, as much as I love Transformers, I just feel that there's time to really retire from collecting as of now, because at the moment there just doesn't seem to be anything interesting, and quite frankly I have enough stuff as is to keep me busy. And before anybody says anything, this doesn't mean that I'm going to stop making videos. In fact, the reason that I started doing videos on here to begin with was because ever since I first started seeing a lot of people review these toys, I wanted to do them as well, because I got inspired by certain people, and just sort of showcase what I had in my own collection. And for the most part, it's been very successful, and I couldn't be any happier because of that, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. But And like I said, this doesn't mean that I'm going to stop making videos, because I will still review what I've currently got, and other things as well, depending on other people's interests. But you won't be seeing videos of me very regularly, because if I start doing the videos regularly of the things I currently own, then I'm going to run out of things to talk about, and that's not very good. So, where does that currently leave us with what we've currently got at the moment? Well, let's see. I know that, Jared, Wolfgang1, has recently reviewed, Fall of Cybertron Jazz, and he addresses a lot of different complaints regarding that figure, as well as the quality of Hasbro's, sudden decline in the making of figures nowadays. And he addressed a lot of good points, very articulate review, of course, but, excuse me, and that pretty much just leaves where we are right now, because at the moment, as much as I do love Transformers, the Prime line, the Beast Hunters line, okay, let's go on to the Beast Hunters line quickly. The Beast Hunters line really is, I've seen some good figures in that, but they're mostly of characters that haven't really appeared in the show yet, because the show doesn't start until February or March, spring this year, so it's starting pretty soon. But the only figure that I think of in that line that actually looks interesting is Predaking, and that's about it. But the rest of the figures are just the figures from Waves 1 and 2, just with extra added armor on. Wheeljack especially is the one that stands out as being one of the worst in terms of just how he looks. And I'm not buying into the Beast Hunters line, because the Prime line really, I think, is an example of how much the line has currently had a little bit of a failing at the moment in terms of quality and pricing. Figures being scaled down to a smaller size, but priced to a much more expensive amount. And the thing is, with me stopping collecting, I haven't really bought anything Transformers related until, in fact, quite recently. The recent two things that I bought, which kind of really marks my son stopping and collecting, which is recently two things. This Classics Octane, or Tankor as he's known. If you remember back a few years ago, I reviewed the G1 Octane, and I said I didn't like this figure. Well, I've had this figure for quite a while now, and I actually think it's not that bad. It's not a great figure, but it's not a bad figure. And last but not least as well, Fall of Cybertron Ultra Magnus, which I do like this figure a lot, but again, make it bigger. And this mold didn't work very well for Prime because it just didn't look and feel like Optimus Prime. This works much better for Ultra Magnus, because it looks much better in terms of how he looks and how he appears. And pretty much with this as well, this pretty much finishes off the entire Cast 86 movie, with the exception of Wheelie, but there you go. But I do like this figure a lot. The only problem is the size, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, those are pretty much the last figures now that I'm buying as of now, until August, because that's when Auto Assembly is, and even then I'm not going to buy a whole lot, so yeah, I'm just not a big collector anymore. What more do you want me to say? And with what I've currently got, the stuff... Actually, hang on. Since I've moved into this new room, I haven't actually shown you my current display of Transformers. Hang on a second. Let me just show you quickly. Since I moved into this new room, there's pretty much the whole collection, all 8 shelves of it, in glass cabinets. At some point when I do a whole tour of the room, I will show you these shelves in all their pristine glory and all that stuff. So yeah, when it comes to figures that I currently own, the cabinets, including the shelf above my bed with the stuff that I have yet to review, I feel that that's enough in terms of figures. And with toy collecting, I'm just kind of really just stopping now for a while, and really just sticking with what I've currently got, because, and if you know me that well enough, if you watch my videos that long enough, you know that I love to talk about the bio of the characters in Transformers and where they stand out in Transformers and what they've done in Transformers and all that stuff, and what those characters have done. And I like the characters because most of the figures I own in these cabinets are all the figures that I like, with the exception of Black Arachne, which I reviewed previously. But yeah, I'm just kind of really stopping collecting from now on. But sorry if that disappoints a lot of people, but it's one of those decisions that you just feel that when you reach a certain point in your life, you have to really just decide upon. And at the moment, because people are dissatisfied with how Hasbro are doing things now, which causes the reason to move to Kara and what they're doing, as well as third party, which is another another way of getting the figures that you want, which are not made by licensed companies. And that's fine, but I've just got enough stuff, and which is why, like Nosey said, because of the reason for me to stop collecting and just kind of really retire from that, it has caused me to make me sell a lot of my stuff, which I feel a lot happier for, because it was of figures that I had for many years, and which I liked when I was younger, but had to really kind of change my perspective of them as I got older, and really just didn't see the point in having them anymore. With the exception of a few figures which I've kept for a lot of different reasons, but I managed to sell just a few of my stuff, and you know what? I made a fair chunk of change because of it, and I feel quite pleased because of it. So, yeah. But as a whole, yes, I'm now retiring from collecting. I'm still a fan of Transformers. I'll always have Transformers, but as a toy side of it, it's only worth for me buying toys of characters that I like. So, that pretty much leaves me in this franchise as it is. What I'm doing as of now is I'm still making videos. That's my biggest hobby, because it's not a regular thing, as I've just said. I just make a video whenever I feel like making a video, and I do these particularly just because I like doing them. So there you go. So if I offend anybody because I've stopped collecting, I'm sorry that I don't see your way of thinking, but it's a decision that I feel like I've made, which is for better or worse, and I feel kind of pleased because of it, and I feel like now for me is the time to really move on. I'm still a fan of certain things, but it's at a certain point in your life when you have a true love for something that you have spent your whole life based around, and then as you turn older, you then start to change your interests a lot, and that happens. People go through phases in life, and with Transformers, it's one of those that I love to death. Everybody loves Transformers, and I know a lot of people, some do, some don't, but yeah. With regards to what I've currently got and what I'm currently buying, I feel that now that since I've got enough, it would probably make me feel a lot more happier to stick with the lines that I currently enjoy, which is the Generations line, which is made up of the 4 Cybertron figures, with the exception of Jazz being the worst. And, well, here's the thing, though, is the Generations line, I would rather stick with what Takara do, which is the United line, which is the Generations line, but all shiny with better plastic. So, yeah. So, pretty much, I'm done with Hasbro, I'm done with collecting. I'm not done with Transformers, God no. But at the moment, it's just something that I really feel that now I feel pleased for doing it, and I feel a sudden change in the atmosphere, I feel, and when you become obsessed over material possessions, it kind of really dominates your whole life, and it ends up making you really depressed because of it. I know it doesn't feel the same way for certain people, but for me, it's always nice to change your hobbies and interests, and to stick to just one thing can just get really boring over the years. So yeah, thanks for listening to this. Thanks for watching this video. I don't know what else to tell you, except I'm just pretty much retiring from collecting from now on. I feel much happier knowing that what I've sold and what I'm currently selling is going to the people that will take much better care of it, as well as I did. As well as just the idea that Hasbro should really just rethink their ideas from now on, because with the scale of figures being scaled down smaller, the price going up and the quality diminishing to that of a piece of tissue paper, it really doesn't feel like they have much creative stock in their options anymore. So, if that makes any sense, but yeah, that pretty much just wraps up my whole thoughts about that. So yeah, I'm pretty much retiring from collecting as of now. I feel happier with the stuff that I've currently got. I will still make videos, but not on a regular basis. And what I've currently got is enough to keep me going. So there you go. In terms of hobbies, as much as I love Transformers, but it's kind of really getting a bit boring at the moment. Prime, I feel, really, the line is just boring. The show is another mixed bag. But I'm sticking with the show to the very end until we see something original come along, which probably won't come until about sometime around the middle of the year or the end of the year, depending on how long Prime is going for, because until Prime ends, we're going to still see more of that for a little while until something good can come from Hasbro in Transformers. So there you go. This has been pretty much the me just rambling for about 15 minutes, explaining why I'm not collecting anymore. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.